So there have been quite a few people talking about these premium Moonlight summons and the potential of them being rigged. I don't actually think they're rigged, I just think that the way that Smallgate is calculating the RNG or the randomness for what units should be summoned is causing us to have streaks, because I have compiled a set of data, and in the set of data, you can observe that once you hit one unit, the next unit is likely to be a few choices. And is this a bad thing? I would say not necessarily, because it's still random. You're still not guaranteed to get, like, or you're still not guaranteed to say, like, well, you're not going to have any ML4s, you're never going to have any ML5s. But I'll go over that in the dataset later, and I'm also going to first go over how randomness works in games typically, and give an example. If you don't particularly care about that, feel free to jump ahead to the dataset section directly. So now, to show that RNG not being fully random is pretty common in games, let's look at Honkai Star Rail. This team that I'm using is going to have 3 RNG factors. The first one is this character Silver Wolf. Her passive is that when she hits somebody, she'll reduce their attack, reduce their defense, or reduce their speed. And then there is probably the biggest RNG factor, this character Qingque, who is just the RNG character. Whenever an ally moves, she'll draw 1 tile from 3 different suits, and she can hold up to 4 tiles at a time. And then every time she uses her skill, she'll draw 2 tiles, and every time she uses skill, there is a 24% chance to gain a buff that gives her an extra attack. So the tiles that she draws whenever somebody moves are going to be RNG, and the tiles that she draws whenever she uses skill is going to be RNG, and every time she uses skill, the chance to get this Self-Sufficer buff is also going to be RNG. And the third source of RNG is going to be the boss itself. Who does the monkey decide to hit? Let's get into the fight and let's find out. The fight starts off and the monkey throws a bottle at Sparkle. And now we're going to use our skill on the boss, and we're going to land attack down. We're going to push up Qingque, who at this point has 1 of each type. This is perfect, so we can... these tiles are loosely based on Mahjong tiles, and this one is a character tile. Maybe this one's easier to see. This one's a character tile. We can call this one a bamboo tile, and we can just call this one a dot tile, just to be simple. So she's got 1 character, 1 bamboo, 1 dot, and if we press skill, we will draw 1 more character and 1 more bamboo, and we can press skill again, and we've got another bamboo and another character. We are out of skill points, so we are going to ult here to get more back. And you can see that she has, this is the icon for her Self-Sufficer buff. So she has gotten the 24% proc chance off of those 2 skill usages to get her extra attack. And we're going to draw again, and we got a dot and a character. Draw again, and we finally got our bamboo tile. So now let's hit. I did not mean to kill that thing. Oh well. We're going to skill here, and let's see who the monkey hits. The monkey throws bottle at Qingque. The dog is going to attack Sparkle. Now the monkey is going to attack, and it froze Silver Wolf and it froze Qingque. That's a little bit unlucky, but we are just going to reset, and we'll see if that happens again. The fight starts off, bottle throw at Sparkle. We are going to use our skill here, and we're going to land our attack down. We're going to push up Qingque. She'll have 1 of each tile. We're going to draw. Yep. Character, bamboo, draw again, character, bamboo, and we're out. We have our Self-Sufficer buff, so we're going to ult for skill points. We're going to draw, and we should get a character and a dot tile. And now we finally get our bamboo tile, and we can throw. So then, once again, we're going to skill here. The monkey is going to throw a bottle at Qingque. The dog is going to attack Sparkle. And now the monkey is going to throw all of its shit at us, and it's going to freeze Silver Wolf and Qingque. So, what does this mean? Does this mean that I'm guaranteed to get frozen every single time at this turn, and I'm also guaranteed to take 5 skill points to get my full hand, or however many I used? Not necessarily, because if we just start off the fight and we just hit our buttons a little bit differently, we can start off by using Silver Wolf ult into Sparkle ult. And let us see who the bottle's thrown at. It's thrown at Silver Wolf this time. And now... So we landed our speed down on the... when we used our ult because we hit them. And this step down is from her ult itself. So now we're going to skill again and see where we land. We land another... Def down, I think. Interesting. And then we push up Jingchui. And we still have one of each. Right, character, bamboo. This time we got a pin and a character tile. Another pin and a bamboo. Now we draw again, and this time we got a bamboo into a character tile. So this is different RNG outcomes from what we got last time. But there still is the question of, why was the RNG so set? How come every single time I follow that path that I originally followed, I always get the exact same outcome? Well, that's just because RNG in games typically isn't truly random. The game uses factors inside of the game to determine what is random. And you can notice that in a lot of games, really. Like here, Star Rail, I'm getting the exact same RNG outcomes. If you played Pokemon, and you try to use save states on the VBA or whatever emulators you're using, you'll notice that sometimes when you use the save states, you'll get the exact same outcomes, and you have to move your save state a little bit further back in order to get different outcomes. And also in speedrunning, sometimes they'll do things called RNG manipulation, which doesn't really make sense. How can you manipulate RNG? But this is just how it is. Games will use factors in their game, and only by really changing stuff around will you be able to change the RNG. And if you have played Star Rail before and you're like, well, this never happens to me, that's because this only really happens in the Divergent universe from my experience. It's because when you restart this challenge and it brings you to the start of the fight, it maintains everything, which also includes whatever RNG seed, I suppose, is being used to determine your RNG outcomes. If you just simply leave the fight and then enter it again, you should get a different RNG outcome. So here, the monkey will throw the bottle at Fushuan instead this time, and it is completely different. So that's just how that works in Star Rail, but how does it work in Epic 7? Let's go back to Epic 7 and let us find out. So now let's take a look at some RNG in E7. I'm just going to go into Hall of Trials and we'll go over this really quickly. So Acades has a chance to land her attack down on her S1, and we'll not change any factors, and we'll just spam S1 over and over again, and we'll see if we land this, or if we miss it, or if anything changes at all. So there, Candlestick procced. That's one RNG factor. We get S1 and we get the attack down. Let's reset. So we start off the fight. Candlestick procced again. We're gonna S1. And we didn't land the attack down this time. So here, it's definitely not consistent, and I would say this is because of the thing that I mentioned in Star Rail, where at the start of the fight, when you leave, it does reset your RNG seed, pretty much. And if there was a function to let you restart the fight from the very beginning of the fight, that might not be the case. So just by leaving the fight in Epic 7, just like Star Rail, every time you leave the fight, it does reset whatever RNG seed you have, and you aren't necessarily locked into the exact same RNG factors. But that's for battles. That's not necessarily for summons. So now let's take a look at all of the data that I've collected so far today and yesterday. So this is the data set that I've gathered by asking around. My thoughts on this, I'll just say them now, are that yes, I think it's pretty much guaranteed at this point that the units you get will be determined by whatever unit you rolled first. Not fully, because there are some parts where it'll split off, and also you aren't locked out of getting ML4s or ML5s. I'll explain this in a little bit, but there are some certain sets where suddenly a unit's popped out for an ML4 or it's popped out for an ML5. But in instances where people have rolled certain units, you can observe that you'll see the same trend. So let's look at the biggest, I guess not really coincidence, but the biggest match so far is these two. They have rolled 24 out of 25 units matching. The only difference is Celeste and Tellarina. And we can actually kind of explain why they end up, even though they started with different units on day 4, why they end up with the same 5. So if we look for Lorena here in my data set, here, Pillis Lorena, Celeste Lorena, Pillis Lorena. There's another Celeste Lorena here, so it's 2 Pillis, 2 Lorena, or it's 2 Pillis, 2 Celeste, 3 Celeste, 3 Pillis, 4 Celeste, 4 Pillis. Now obviously, this isn't a massive sample size yet. I think there's probably, like, if I had a glance, maybe like 20, 30 summons in here so far. But we can see that pretty much Lorena, every single time she's shown up here, is preceded by Celeste or Pillis. And then if we also look at Lorena, Lorena ROL, Lorena ROL, Lorena ROL, Lorena ROL, 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 and another, well, this one's cut off, so we can't see. But pretty much Lorena has been guaranteed to be followed by ROL, which is why after they finish the, or after they both managed to get Lorena after getting Celeste and Pillis, they went to ROL and Suthon, because ROL is pretty much always having Suthon after. And then we can look at Suthon, which is where there's another split, because Suthon Gloomy, Suthon Gloomy, Suthon Batiste, 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 Batiste. So there's a chance for Gloomy and a chance for Batiste. And this is just showing that you can have two different, like, paths, I guess, merge into one and also split off, I would say, because you can go from Batiste, or from Suthon into Batiste, or Suthon into Gloomy. Yeah. There's also some other patterns observable, like this one's kind of strange. An exact match on 2 different days, which I would say also shows that it's not necessarily set up to just be like the same every single time. Where it's Watcher Bidom, F Maya, Kitty, Yunjung, Watcher Bidom, F Maya, Kitty, Yunjung. So that's kind of interesting, get the exact same 4 ML4s into Yunjung. So my theory with this is that once you roll a unit, there is only a certain set of units that you can roll next. And this is because of the RNG that I've mentioned before. Every person is going to have a certain, like, maybe RNG seed. I want to say RNG seed, but I don't think it's just the seed, because across all of these different accounts, you're observing the exact same patterns. But once you roll a unit, your next unit is only going to be from a specific set of units, and that is why you keep on seeing the same patterns of units in a row. Like, Bloodblade Karin is one where I think she is always followed by Thalia and always preceded by Requiem Roar. Yeah, Requiem Roar, BBK. And here's one of the splits. This one is Celeste instead of Thalia, but it's still preceded by Requiem Roar. So it's very likely that she follows with Thalia and is preceded by Requiem Roar. And you might ask, does this prevent you from getting ML4s and ML5s? I would say no, because we can take a look at here. So this one here is Prunella, Ainos, Hassol, Alots, Silk. And then I should Control F to make this easier. Prunella, Ainos, Assassin Sid, Lots, Silk. Ainos, Hassol, Lots, Silk. And there should be one more. Acid, Alots, Silk. So they're slightly offset. It's not the exact same 5 units in the exact same order, but we have Sid, Alots, Silk. And here we have another Sid, Alots, Silk. And then here, instead of Acid, we have a Soul here and a Soul here. So these 3 are also preceded by Ainos. So I would say after you roll Ainos, there is a chance for Acid and a chance for Hassol. And then with Ainos, Acid, Ainos, Hassol, you're probably going to get Alots, and then you're probably going to get Watchers or Wanderer Silk. But these ones also show us something different, which is you have, well, the main thing it shows us is that yes, you can get an ML4 in an ML3 slot, so you're not guaranteed to only have ML3s. Even if you're on the Prunella, Ainos, Hassol path, that Hassol could be an Acid. But we can also look at this one here, Eaton, Thalia, Prunella, AOL, Hassol. There is one here with Eaton. Eaton. It is one of these. Oh, it's not with Eaton, it's this one. So there's BBK, Thalia, Prunella, Ainos, Hassol. Eaton, Thalia, Prunella, AOL, Hassol. So Thalia, Prunella, and Hassol are matching, and then here Ainos is swapped out for AOL, and Eaton is swapped out for BBK. So this is another example of the, I've been calling them ML4 upgrades, I guess, that are present. And you can also see ML5 upgrades appear, because here you have Sven, Requiem Roar, Eaton, Talia, Camilla, and here it's Sven, Requiem Roar, Eaton, Abyssal Euphine. So here, instead of getting Talia after getting Eaton, this person managed to get Abyssal Euphine, and this person also managed to get the same thing, Sven, Requiem Roar, Eaton, Abyssal Euphine, and I have had a third person who did not take a screenshot also report that they got Sven into Requiem Roar, into Eaton, into Abyssal Euphine. So this is just showing that, yes, you can also get ML5s while you're on an ML4 path, or an ML3 path. This person got 5 ML3s. All these people had 3 of the same, but they got an ML5 instead. If you want to contribute to this dataset, you can come into the official Epic 7 Discord under the Flex Chat. There is a thread called Free Galaxy Summons Tracking. Send your day's free summons here. Just go to Hero and sort by acquisition. So here you can see the 5 in a row. And if you do have them sandwiched between some units, please let me know what the order is. Like this guy sent me an image of 9 MLs. I don't know what the order is, so I asked Sven to Camilla. So now I know it's Sven first, into Camilla, and that's the order. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Also, let me know what day you're on. I don't think that's really that important, but I was mainly wanted it because I was tracking these two who have just the exact same thing every single day. We do need more data, of course. Like, this isn't... I think at this point we do have enough data with the data that other people have found to say that, yes, your role is going to be determined to some extent by what you rolled, but it's still RNG. You can't control it. I don't think it's going to be like, well, this person's going to figure out how to just get ML5s every single time. Probably not, because even if you do start with the same unit, you're not guaranteed to get the same unit after a certain point. So that's that. I do think one interesting thing is that if we get enough data, we might be able to start predicting what you get after a roll, which could be kind of fun. But hopefully this managed to explain at least some parts of this to people who are seeing this and a little bit confused. Once again, I don't think it's like rigged in a bad way. It's just, this is just how basic RNG in games kind of works.